What is going on, everybody? This is David here, back with a brand new video, and today we got some really good and some really exciting news. That good and exciting news is that the Denver Broncos have traded Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, and multiple first-round picks for Russell Wilson and a fourth-round pick. What do I have to say about this move? Well, all I have to say is I love it. This was the move we've been looking for. One of the guys we've been targeting for a while now. Russell Wilson, after spending a decade in Seattle, is coming to Denver. And this is just a move I love. After years of signing washed-up has-beens like Joe Flacco, one-hit wonders like Case Keenum, or trying to hope that a guy like Drew Lock would produce and never get anything out of him, we get a 9-time Pro Bowl quarterback, Super Bowl champion, and future Hall of Famer. Now, do I see Russell Wilson playing for another, let's say, decade? No. Do I see him playing for another 5 years? Absolutely. But he's going to come to Denver and get a fresh start. Something he needed. Something he wanted. Because, you know, there was tension saying that him and the Pete Carroll were going at it. He wasn't happy with the Seahawks coaching staff. The play calling. Comes to Denver where Nathaniel Hackett will listen to him. And will game plan around him. I mean, you know, when you talk about him being a former Super Bowl champion, remember, when he beat us in the Super Bowl, he had Hall of Famers on both sides of the ball. He had Hall of Famers on defense. He had Bobby Wagner, 8-time Pro Bowl selection, 6-time first-team All-Pro, Hall of Famer. That secondary, Richard Sherman, Hall of Famer. Earl Thomas, Hall of Famer. Cam Chancellor, borderline Hall of Famer. But on the defensive line, he had Michael Bennett, a Pro Bowler. He had Cliff Averill, a Pro Bowler. And at that time, they didn't even need defensive end pass rushers. But they got him. And they've succeeded under him. And they were successful. And then on offense, he had Marshawn Lynch in the backfield, who was just hard to tackle because he was so strong and so tough and aggressive. Now he's coming to Denver where he's going to have a good defense. And he's going to have young talent on the receiving core. And in the backfield. I mean, Javonte Williams kind of reminds me a little bit of a newer Marshawn Lynch. A guy who's tough, strong, and he could turn negative yardage into positive yardage. When it looks like he always manages to get back to the line of scrimmage, or when it looks like he's going to be tackled for a loss, he gets back to the line of scrimmage, or gets back to he gets past the line of scrimmage. This was just such. And I mean, and then you got to look at his receivers as well. He's going to have Cortland Sutton, who's a pretty good receiver. He's going to have Tim Patrick, who's Mr. Reliable. The jury is still out on Jerry Jeudy. I just think that he needs to stop with the drop passes because he's a good receiver with talent. He's got to stop those drop passes, though. And then KJ Hamler, getting him back from injury. And then we did trade Noah Fant, who was a good pass catcher, struggled as a blocker, but was becoming our new Garrett Bowles, penalty prone. Denver's biggest thing that they got to do in the offseason is, well, number one, bring Von Miller back. Von's wanting to come back to Denver. Why not bring him back under a new contract for the right price? Because I don't think he's worth $10 million a year no more. He's just not that kind of player, but he's still reliable. Great contributor, he's just not that reliable. He's reliable, but he's not, what do you call, that guy that's going to be Defensive Player of the Year anymore. I mean, he won a Super Bowl that way, bringing back Denver. But then they got to address the offensive line and free agency. Look at getting that middle of that O-line. Because that's been their weakest point since 2015 is not getting a great offensive line and drafting a franchise quarterback. But I think Denver, this was the one thing they were needing. And the one thing that was holding them back for so long was getting a quarterback. But they also have to work on the O-line. I mean, because the problem with John Elway was, you have to admit, Russell Wilson wasn't available. He was still under contract in Seattle. Seattle refused to trade him. And now they decided to. But John Elway also passed up on quarterbacks. I mean, he passed up on drafting Patrick Mahomes, and look what he's doing in Kansas City. He passed up on drafting Josh Allen for an injury-prone Bradley Chubb. Now, I like Bradley Chubb. He's a great player and all, but he was just injury-prone. But now, and then they even passed up on drafting Mac Jones. Because they had so much belief and faith that Aaron Rodgers would be available. But look we got Russell Wilson. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. A guy who just trying to get another Super Bowl. Because I don't see him playing for another decade. I don't see him playing. I see him only playing for 5 more years. But if he could win with us, we got a lot of young talent. And if we could stay healthy, he could probably bring us another Super Bowl in the next couple years. And now he's going to come to a division that's competitive, where he's going to go up against Patrick Mahomes twice a year. I mean, Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes are that same breed of quarterback. And it kind of reminds me of his rivalry with Colin Kaepernick that he had in the early part of his career. He's going to go against Justin Herbert, who I think is going to become a really great quarterback. And the jury is still out on Derek Carr. I just don't think Carr is the future with the Raiders, but I could be wrong, but I just think the Raiders really got to look at drafting a new quarterback. A lot of Raider fans do agree with me on that. But this was such a great move by George Paton, and I just don't know where to go. What more to say? I mean, I don't think I've been this excited, and I don't think we've had this since Peyton Manning. I mean, be honest with you, I was never a fan of Peyton Manning, never too fond of him, and even when he came to Denver, I still wasn't too fond of him. I don't even own a Manning jersey. Thank him for what he did, but he's just a guy that I hated. Russell Wilson, I really don't like either, because he beat us in the Super Bowl. But he's not one of those. But the difference between him and how I felt about Peyton Manning was Russell Wilson doesn't. I mean, he does get overhyped a lot, but it's like the media never made excuses for him, or media doesn't. What do you call? Do the try to point the finger elsewhere like they always did with Peyton Manning. But with that all said and done, I just love this move. And also the other news coming out, I first woke up to this news that the Green Bay Packers re-signed Aaron Rodgers to a 4-year contract extension. They could have him. Rodgers is, like I've said many times before, he's not a playoff caliber quarterback. Choked so much times in the playoffs. And that's that. But I love this move, and I hope it goes well. Tell you though, Drew Lock, bye-bye. I really had faith in you after that 4-1 start. I really believed in you and had faith in you. But you really just never became the guy I thought you once were. Noah Fant, like I said before, he became our new Garrett Bowles. So, kind of sad to see that production go, but the other physical part, the penalties, bye-bye. And Shelby Harris, you were good, and I'll miss you too. But after getting Russell Wilson, now I'm hoping to get Von Miller back And we got to address this offensive line. Big time. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Did you like the move? Did you hate it? Indifferent? Me? I love the move. This is David. I'm out. Peace.